There's $27 million in that building that I put over there. Alone, just the studio.
From 50 Cent's private studio worth millions, to Dr. Dre's underground studio in his Brentwood mansion, to Jay-Z's world-class studio where iconic hits are created, let me show you what making music in the world's most expensive studios feels like. Starting with Dr. Dre's Brentwood home studio. What does it take to make hits like Still DRE and The Next Episode without ever leaving your house? For Dr. Dre, it meant building a 10,000 square foot underground studio beneath his $40 million Brentwood mansion that's basically a professional facility hidden under a French chateau. This isn't just some bedroom setup with a laptop and headphones. We're talking about a full-blown sonic laboratory where the West Coast legend crafted albums for Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, and himself without dealing with commercial studio rates or time limits. Purchased in 2014, the mansion itself cost $40 million, but Dre dropped another $5 to $10 million excavating beneath it to create this underground empire. The setup spans multiple rooms with a central control area, isolation booths for vocals, and a lounge where collaborators can kick back during marathon sessions. Acoustic treatments cover every surface with custom bass traps and floating floors that eliminate outside noise, creating a dead environment perfect for Dre's signature booming bass and crisp highs. The gear collection is where things get wild. Dre's got 4 to 5 Akai MPC 3000 samplers for sequencing those punchy West Coast beats, multiple EMU SP 1200 units for that crunchy old school texture, and a Sony C800G tube microphone worth $10,000 that he swears by for capturing clean rap vocals. But the crown jewel was his SSL 4000G Plus mixing console, a massive 48-channel analog beast that sold at auction in 2025 for a record-breaking $165,000, the highest price ever paid for hip-hop gear. Dre's approach to making music has always been hands-on and resourceful, something he talked about in interviews over the years.
Because back in the day, I had, let's say, 1 or 2 keyboards to make an entire album. So I had to figure out ways to make the sounds different. So I would go in pawn shops and find guitar pedals and what have you to make the sounds in this one particular keyboard sound different, so I can make an entire album using one keyboard.
The monitoring setup includes custom Augsburger Duo 12 to 15 main monitors with dual 12-inch woofers and 15-inch subs, costing $20,000 to $30,000 per pair for that immersive bass-heavy playback. He's also got classic Yamaha NS10M studio monitors for accurate mix checking and vintage gear, like DBX 1-60 compressors for punchy drums. The whole setup runs through an Avid Pro Tools HDX system for digital editing while maintaining that analog warmth Dre's known for. The mansion itself features eco-friendly solar panels, a gym, sauna, and home theater, all integrated so Dre can seamlessly move from family life to producing multi-platinum tracks without stepping outside. If Dre's studio has multiple MPC samplers and a record-breaking SSL console, this next rapper's studio packs Dolby Atmos systems with serious film-grade gear inside. 50 Cent's G-Unit Studios. Most cats talk about building empires, but 50 Cent actually did it by turning a 956,000 square foot warehouse in Shreveport, Louisiana, into the second largest black-owned studio in America. This ain't just some recording spot. G-Unit Studios is a full-blown film and TV production complex where Fifth cranks out his Power spin-offs, BMF series, and soundtrack work all under one massive roof. Leased in 2023 for just $2,400 annually under a 30-year deal with a 15-year renewal option, this joint represents 50's evolution from mixtape king to multimedia mogul. The facility was formerly Millennium Studios, a city-owned property that 50 transformed with $3 to $4 million in renovations and equipment purchases. The layout emphasizes versatility with multiple sound stages for sets, post-production suites equipped for Dolby Atmos mixing, and green screens for hybrid shoots. The interior rocks a sharp black and white aesthetic with sleek hallways, polished concrete floors, and branded G-Unit accents and gray half carpets throughout the lobby. 2 impressive offices anchor the space, including 50's personal suite with custom decor like a painting of himself in the vanity room. For the audio gear, 50 kept it professional but focused. The Sony C800G tube microphone that he used on Inda Club is now integrated into G-Unit booths for soundtrack raps. There's also a Neumann U87 that was featured in his home studio during MTV Cribs back in 2007, capturing his aggressive delivery on albums like Curtis. The vocal chain typically runs through a Neve 1070 73 preamp for that punchy low end, then into an Avalon VT737SP channel strip for compression and tube warmth. When 50 talks about his investment in this space, you can hear the pride in his voice about building something lasting.
There's $27 million in that building that I put over there. alone, just the studio. Everything that I bought away from that is shit that I bought just because I need them to feel what you feel, what we feel right now.
Yeah.
Here. So it's not a bad place to go. In the process, it makes the place cool.
The mixing setup includes an SSL 4000G console with E modules for routing into Pro Tools and a Dolby Atmos system for immersive TV scores. Opened in August 2024 after massive renovations, G-Unit Studios represents 50's three-phase community plan that includes housing and talent programs, making it way more than just a recording space. While Fifth's spot uses $10,000 Sony tube mics with Neve preamps, this next rapper's studio stacked multiple SSL desks with custom Augsburger speakers everywhere. Jay-Z's Baseline Studios. Sometimes the grittiest spaces birth the greatest art. Jay-Z's Baseline Studios in Manhattan's Chelsea district was the war room where Rockefeller Records plotted their takeover, a no-frills creative bunker that fostered independence and raw genius. Opened in the early 2000s at 127 West 26th Street, this multi-room setup became the birthplace of classics like The Blueprint and The Black Album, recorded in an unpretentious atmosphere that prioritized function over flash. Unlike flashy modern spots, Baseline's luxury came from what it represented: total creative freedom. The layout featured 3 interconnected production areas, allowing seamless transitions between tracking, mixing, and brainstorming. The central control room housed the main console, flanked by racks of outboard gear, with an adjacent soundproofed vocal booth and a lounge area where late-night freestyle ciphers went down amid cigar smoke. Acoustic treatments included custom Jokavi 2FX diffusers, painted Nardo gray for aesthetic synergy, plus bass traps and floating floors for sonic accuracy. The gear was pure vintage analog power. The centerpiece was an SSL 464G Plus mixing console with 64 channels, recently refurbished for the 2023 exhibit Recreation at Brooklyn Public Library. Jay used this for spreading tracks and old school mixing on Kanye stems. There were also SSL 9000J series and SSL 4000G Plus consoles in secondary rooms for layering beats. For capturing vocals, Jay relied on a Neumann U87 routed through an Avalon 737 for tracks like 99 Problems, plus a Neumann U67 tube mic for detailed capture, and occasionally a Sony C800G for polished hooks. Jay's philosophy on creating music evolved over the years, focusing on making work that matters rather than just churning out tracks.
Because we can't use the word retirement for you.
Yeah. No, I already did that. I can't do that ever again. I would say I want to make music, but it has to be something important. I don't want to just make a bunch of tunes.
The monitoring came from custom Augsburger Classic 215 monitors with dual 15-inch woofers refurbished for the exhibit, plus Yamaha NS10Ms for mix checks. Outboard gear included Empirical Labs distressor compressors paired with API 550 EQs for incredible drum sound, TubeTech CL1B compressors for smooth vocals, and a Lexicon 480L reverb for spatial effects. Engineer Young Guru ran everything through Avid Pro, Tools HDX for editing. Though the original closed in 2010, the 2023 life-size Recreation funded by Rock Nation preserved every detail from wood finishes to gear placements as a cultural time capsule. Now, if Jay's place had 64-channel SSL boards with vintage Neumann tube mics, this next rapper's studio runs battery-powered MPCs with portable samplers instead. Kanye West's Yeezy Campus Studio. Out in Cody, Wyoming, Kanye West built something different from your typical studio. The Yeezy campus sits on over 10,000 acres of ranch land, where Yee transformed a simple eating cabin into a creative retreat that blends music, fashion, and pure isolation. Acquired in 2019 for $14 million as part of Westlake Ranch, this setup evolved from the remote recording outpost during the Ye era into a self-sustaining campus where gospel rap experiments and Yeezy prototypes come to life amid elk herds and mountain views. The studio started in a modest wooden cabin perched on rolling hills, then expanded by 2020 into a brutalist concrete compound inspired by his Calabasas HQ. The layout features interconnected zones, a central music studio about 1,000 to 2,000 square feet with portable rigs for flexibility, adjacent prototyping spaces for Yeezy samples, and event areas for Sunday service choir rehearsals. Acoustic treatments are basic but effective with foam panels, rugs, and natural natural wood, all powered by solar systems tied to ranch-wide eco-initiatives like sheep farming for Yeezy wool. The gear emphasizes portability and hybrid workflows. Yee's got an Ensoniq ASR-10 sampler that he used heavily in Wyoming for Ye Beats, visible in sessions with T.I. for Ye V's The People. There's also an Akai MPC 2000 XL for drum programming and an Akai MPC Live standalone unit with battery power for off-grid work, spotted in ranch sessions with a MacBook for Donda. The Roland TR-808 drum machine was pivotal for Ye's minimalist beats in that Wyoming isolation, shaping the album's sparse sound. For vocals, Kanye used a vintage Neumann U87 with windscreen visible in live streams, a Sony C800G for clean hooks, and a Telefunken ELAM 251 tube mic for gospel elements on Donda. The Chaotica eyeball isolation device became essential in makeshift booths, and he even recorded 20 to 30% of Jesus is King and Donda parts via iPhone X voice memos. His audio interface was a Universal Audio Apollo Twin MKII core for tracking during those remote sessions. Monitoring came from KRK Rokit 8G3 powered studio monitors on the Wyoming desk and Yamaha NS10Ms for mix checks. Synths included an Oberheim Obigza for atmospheric layers, a mini Moog Voyager for bass, and a Dave Smith Tempest drum machine for percussive experiments. The TubeTech CL1B compressor handled dynamics on vocals throughout Donda. Everything ran through Avid Pro Tools, or FL Studio for editing, with plugins like a torrented version of Xverse Serum, spotted in sessions for modern sounds. The luxury here isn't about fancy finishes. It's about therapeutic isolation on a ranch that cost $14 million, plus another $36 million in developments for domes, labs, and plans for a 100,000-seat amphitheater. Solar power and sustainable farming enable uninterrupted creation amid nature, fostering Donda's communal gospel vibes far from urban noise. Yee's Wyoming cabin features Ensoniq samplers with classic Roland 808 drum machines, but this next rapper's studio rocks $15,000 Telefunken mics with custom Augsburgers. Rick Ross's Promised Land Mansion studio. When Rick Ross talks about living like a boss, he ain't playing. The Promised Land Mansion in Fayetteville, Georgia, represents Southern rap royalty, with a full recording studio built right into the basement of one of America's largest private homes. Purchased in 2014 for $5.9 million after foreclosure from Evander Holyfield, this 45,000 to 54,000 square foot estate on 322 acres became Ross's creative headquarters, where trap anthems get crafted amid serious opulence. The main mansion features 109 rooms, including 12 bedrooms and 21 bathrooms, all wrapped in white stone exterior with marble floors and dual sweeping staircases. Ross dubbed it Promised Land as a nod to his rise from humble beginnings. The recording studio sits in the basement, a dedicated suite spanning about 1,000 to 2,000 square feet, designed for isolation and efficiency. The layout includes a central control room for mixing, an adjacent vocal booth with sightlines for real-time collaboration, and acoustic treatments like foam panels and bass traps to handle those booming 808s without bleeding into the mansion's upper levels. The basement connects seamlessly to other amenities, a custom gym for post-session workouts, a 135-seat theater for playback reviews, a 2-lane bowling alley for breaks, and an indoor lap pool for relaxation. Outside, there's a private highway, lakes, and manicured lawns where Ross personally mows using an air-conditioned tractor with a built-in radio. Security is fortress-like with gated entry and 24/7 surveillance. For gear, Ross keeps it professional with high-end vocal chains. He's got a Neumann U87 condenser microphone visible in booth footage at 113 in session videos, used for clean, detailed rap vocals paired with preamps for that bossy low end on tracks like Blow. There's also a Telefunken ELA M251 tube mic worth $15,000 for warm vintage capture, perfect for his baritone on MMG collabs. Shure SM58 and Shure U2 SM58 wireless mics handle quick demos and mobile tracking around the massive property. Monitoring comes from Yamaha NS10M studio monitors for accurate mix checks and custom Augsburger Duo 8 mini mains worth $10,000 to $15,000 per pair for that immersive low-end precision in trap production. He's also got KRK Rokit 5G3 powered monitors at 108 in videos for quick reference mixes. The vocal chain likely includes an Avalon preamp for warming vocals, mentioned in old forums as part of his setup for Port of Miami. Renovations including the studio studio build-out added $5 to $10 million to the property's value, now estimated at $30 to $75 million. Ross expanded with an adjacent 87-acre purchase for $1 million in 2019, pushing the total to 322 acres. The estate has been used for filming like Coming to America interiors and music videos, making it both a creative hub and a resort-like sanctuary. While Ross's basement uses rare Telefunken tube mics with custom monitoring systems, this next rapper's studio features Sennheiser wireless setups with 80-channel SSL automation inside. Eminem's Rochester Hills Mansion Studio. Eminem's journey from 8-mile trailer parks to secluded mansion life is hip-hop legend, and his Rochester Hills studio represents that evolution perfectly. Purchased in 2003 for $4.8 million, this 17,000 square foot estate in Oakland County's gated community became Marshall Mathers' creative bunker, where he could write confessional tracks without interruptions, hosting sessions with Dr. Dre while maintaining family life with daughter Haley. The mansion sits on nearly 6 acres, backing onto Stony Creek Metro Park for serene inspiration. Built in 1996 with imported materials and impeccable woodwork, it features 6 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, and a basement-level studio spanning about 1,000 to 2,000 square feet. The layout includes a soundproofed live room for tracking, a central control area with sightlines to isolation booths, and adjacent storage for instruments. Acoustic treatments with fabric-wrapped walls, bass traps, and floating floors create a dead environment tunable for crisp highs and deep lows in rap mixes. Integration with the home allows seamless transitions from the studio to a home gym with mirrored walls, a private theater with 135 seats and surround sound for playback reviews, or the outdoor pool and hot tub for breaks during all-nighters. State-of-the-art HVAC maintains conditions for sensitive gear, while smart electronics enable remote control. Security features include biometric gates, surveillance, and a 3-car garage for discreet guest arrivals. For recording, M's got a Sennheiser SKM 5200 handheld wireless mic with ME 5005 capsule, his preferred choice for aggressive takes during recovery sessions. There's also a Neumann U87 for neutral capture on hooks, and a Sony C800G tube mic used on the Marshall Mathers LP for polished sheen. The vocal chain runs through an Avalon VT737SP channel strip for warmth, and a Neve 1073 preamp for adding color, paired with a Manley Vox box for processing rapid flows. Mixing happens on an SSL 4000G series console with 80 channels for spreading tracks, integrated with Avid Pro Tools HD for editing. Monitoring comes from Focal Trio 6B studio monitors for accurate playback. Other gear includes a Korg Triton 61-key workstation for beats, TC Electronic 2290 delay for echoes on verses, and Antares Auto-Tune used subtly for modern polish. Renovations for the studio wing pushed the value to over $10 million, though M sold it in 2017 for $1.9 million, and it was listed again in 2021 for $3.23 million. He now uses Detroit-based setups like Effigy Studios. If M's spot runs Avalon channel strips with Manley vocal processors, this next rapper's studio boasts a 64-channel Neve console with 10,000-watt custom speakers. Snoop Dogg's Beach City Music Complex. When Snoop Dogg opened Beach City Music Complex in Inglewood in 2016, he wasn't just building another studio. He created a 20,000 square foot cultural nexus nicknamed The Mothership, where West Coast rap, film production, and pure creativity collide. Commissioned by longtime collaborator DJ Pooh and designed by Westlake Pro with professional audio design, this facility near LAX has become Snoop's creative headquarters, where he records, broadcasts, and collaborates, while overseeing ventures like Death Row Records. The complex features 3 interconnected spaceship-themed studios: Mothership, Studio A, Battleship, Studio B, and Starship, Studio C, each tuned for sonic consistency. Studio A serves as the main control room, a large production and mixing space with a central console desk. Studio B focuses on 5.1 surround mixing, with lounge seating for group sessions and integrated video editing bays for broadcast prep. Studio C was designed as a tracking and writing room for Snoop's son, Cordell Broadus, emphasizing modular furniture for emerging artists. Acoustic treatments are pro-grade with custom Jokavi panels, bass traps, and diffusers ensuring flat responses. The space also includes a full basketball court for breaks during Dre sessions, a car showroom displaying Snoop's classic rides, and a radio suite for live Sirius XM broadcasts. The gear is next level. At the heart is an AMS Neve Genesis Black 64-channel console worth over $100,000, with Neve 1073 preamps per strip and Diawu integration. generation. The main monitors are custom Augsburger Quattro 4 Fuentes, the largest ever built with quad 15-inch woofers, dual 18-inch subs, and 10,000 watts total, costing $30,000 plus. There are also Focal SM9 studio monitors in Studio B for precise vocal balances. For vocals, Snoop uses a Telefunken ELA M2521 tube mic worth $15,000 for smooth raps, and a Neumann U87 in Studio C for guest verses. Outboard gear includes vintage Pultec EQP-1A equalizers for tone shaping, Teletronics LA2A, and Uri 1176LN compressors for dynamics, and a TubeTech CL1B for bus compression. Everything runs through Avid Pro Tools HDX with Slate Digital Raven touchscreens for intuitive mixing. Beat-making tools include an Akai MPC3000 for drum programming and a Roland TR-808 for West Coast bass. Custom Zauer furniture throughout provides ergonomic access for live instrument tracking. The build cost hasn't been disclosed, but likely hit $5 to $10 million for design and gear by Westlake and PAD. The space has birthed modern classics and death row tributes, making it a mothership for West Coast unity near LAX. Now, while Snoop's complex features $15,000 Telefunken mics with vintage Pultec EQs, this next rapper's studio combines classic Studer tape machines with brand new SSL boards. Outkast's Stankonia Studios. Sometimes ownership is everything. When Andre 3000 and Big Boy purchased what became Stankonia Studios, in 1998, they were making a statement about independence and creative control. Located in Northwest Atlanta, this multi-room facility had already hosted legends like Elton John and Toni Braxton when it was Soundscape Studios, then became Bobby Brown's Bosstown Recording Studios from 1990 to 1997. Outkast scooped it up, renamed it after their groundbreaking fourth album, and turned it into a funky utopian headspace where anything goes. Bobby Brown, who owned the studio before Outkast, once explained in an interview why the duo decided to purchase it from him.
Did you own a music studio in Atlanta?
Yes. Bosstown.
Andre 3000 and Big Boy, they recorded a song.
Yeah, they bought the studio from me. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What made you decide to own a studio?
Not wanting to spend my budget on other people's studios.
The layout spans an estimated 5,000 to 10,000 square feet, with multiple rooms designed for flexibility. The main A room is the heart, a comfortable high-ceilinged control area that was extensively refurbished when they bought it with new wiring, busing, and EQs. There's also a smaller room for Pro Tools only mixing, a 15x 15-foot vocal booth, and a massive warehouse-like live room so huge it doubles as storage for Outkast's stage gear from tours. That cavernous space has been used for recording strings, live piano, drums, percussion, and full band jams with over 30 musicians. In 2024, they installed a brand new SSL Duality Fuse 48 fader console worth $100,000 to $150,000, replacing the SSL 4000G+ that engineer John Fry had refurbished back in 1998 with new busing, EQs, large VCA faders, and capacitors. That original desk served 36 years and was used as mic pres for routing into Pro Tools. The new Duality Fuse features super analog preamps, integrated Fusion Mix bus processor for color and cohesion, and a bus compressor in the center section for that magic glue. Monitoring comes from custom George Augsburger mains with TAD components and Bristol amplification, soffit mounted for high SPL playback and tuned every 6 months. Woofers and diaphragms get replaced annually because they put so much power through them. They're not ultra hi-fi, but incredibly durable for intense sessions, costing $20,000 to $30,000 custom. For vocals, they use a Neumann M149 tube mic through an Avalon VT737SP channel strip with additional Avalon AD255 EQs and AD244 compressors for clean true processing. There are also Neve 1073 preamps for drums, horns, and vocals. Beat-making tools include an EMU SP1200 and a Akai MPC3000 for sequencing grooves. They've got Studer A827 24-track tape machines and a Studer A820 half-inch for tape warmth, though they shifted to 95% Pro Tools by 2003. Effects include a Yamaha SPX 1000 and software synths like Reason, FM7, Absynth, and Spectrasonics for blending with live instruments. Andre sold his share to Big Boy in 2015, but it remains Big Boy's base and a commercial facility constantly busy with artists like Goody Mob, T.I., and Summer Walker. Recent work includes Killer Mike's Grammy-winning Michael album. Outkast's space includes a 48 fader SSL console with custom Augsburgers tuned twice yearly, but this next rapper's studio showcases rare prototype desks with vintage tube mics. Pharrell Williams' home studio. Pharrell Williams doesn't just make music, he creates entire vibes. His Los Angeles home studio represents the creative epicenter where the Neptunes-era innovations with Chad Hugo reshaped hip-hop, pop, and R&B through eclectic sampling and futuristic beats. As the mind behind smashes like Happy, Get Lucky with Daft Punk, and NERD's In Search Of, Pharrell wove this space into his Billionaire Boys Club design hub, blending music with fashion in one seamless environment. Part of his expansive real estate portfolio valued over $200 million, the studio sits inside his Hollywood Hills glass mansion that emphasizes natural light and open spaces. The setup spans multiple rooms labeled Studios A, B, and C, totaling around 2,000 to 3,000 square feet within the larger home. Studio A acts as the primary control room with bold-colored walls in vibrant hues like teal and yellow, lined with art shelves sparking visual inspiration. Studios B and C are smaller modular spaces for tracking and writing, all networked via Pro Tools for quick file swaps. The gear is a vibrant mix of vintage and modern. At the heart sits a rare AMEC G2520 console prototype, one of only 7 ever made worth $50,000 plus. For DAW control, there's a DigiDesign Pro Control Surface in the secondary rooms. Pharrell's mic collection includes a vintage Neumann U67 tube mic for rich hooks, a Telefunken ELA M251 worth $15,000 for detailed capture, an AKG C12 VR for neutral clarity, and Neumann TLM 170 and TLM 103 condensers for various applications. The vocal chain typically runs through an Avalon VT737SP channel strip for warmth, then a TubeTech CL1B compressor for smooth optical dynamics. Other outboard includes Teletronics LA2A for transparency, DBX 160 for punchy drums, and Neve 9098 EQs for tone shaping. Monitoring comes from Genelec 1037A three-way actives, Yamaha NS10Ms for real-world checks, custom Augsburgers for loud playbacks, plus Mackie, PROAC, and IK Multimedia iLoud micro monitors for various reference points. Beatmaking centers around an Ensoniq ASR10 sampler for chopping loops like on Get Lucky, multiple Roland JV series synth modules, JV5080, JV1080, JV2080, a Korg microKORG for chords and Drop It Like It's Hot, Korg O1W and Triton Extreme workstations, an Access Virus TI2 Polar for synths, a Yamaha motif rack, and the classic Roland TR-808 for beats. Everything runs through Avid Pro Tools or Apple Logic Pro, with plugins like Spectrasonics Omnisphere for presets, Waves Renaissance compressor on 18 channels, Metric Halo channel strip, Sony Oxford compressor, Waves de-esser, and UAD or Waves SSL channel emulations. Apogee Rosetta converters handle ADDA duties. Controllers include M-Audio Axiom 61, Oxygen 49, and Alesis Vate 49 keyboards, plus Apple MacBook Pros for computing. There's even a full-size grand piano scattered throughout for melodies in the vibrant setup. If Pharrell's rooms feature Ensoniq samplers with Access Virus synthesizers inside, this next rapper's studio packs gold-plated Neumann mics with SSL consoles rolling on wheels. Timbaland's mobile recording studio. Most producers need a studio to make hits. Timbaland built one on wheels. His mobile recording setup represents the ultimate in portable production, turning a luxury tour bus into a fully functional hit factory that powered tracks for Justin Timberlake, Missy Elliott, and One Republic while rolling down highways. Debuted around 2010 in a custom-fitted Prevost coach nicknamed Oracle or MMG tour bus and valued at $1.3 to $2 million, this setup allowed Tim to craft classics like Future Sex Love Sounds without ever stopping the tour. The bus featured a soundproofed room-within-a-room design, essentially a floating inner chamber suspended on isolators to block road vibrations and engine noise. This central production area of about 100 to 200 square feet included a compact control desk for mixing, an adjacent vocal booth with sightlines, and modular racks for gear accessibility during travel. Acoustic treatments with dense foam panels, bass traps, and multi-layer walls with neoprene decoupling provided broadband absorption, creating a flat response tuned for Tim's bass-heavy beats without external bleed. The bus integrated lifestyle seamlessly, a passenger seat mic setup for drive time demos, a living room with leather couches for brainstorming, a kitchen for breaks, and sleeping quarters for overnight sessions. Custom features included marble floors, LED lighting adjustable via apps, and climate-controlled HVAC for tube gear. Power came from generators or solar backups for off-grid use. Built by Pro Audio Nerds Inc., the project cost $1.3 to $2 million million, with the bus base around $500,000 plus $800,000 for audio fit-out. At the heart was an SSL Matrix mixing console, a hybrid analog digital desk with 16x16 channels and super analog preamps that Timbaland routed all signals through for incredible mixes on the road. The main monitors were custom Augsburger soffit-mounted speakers with dual woofers and horn tweeters worth $20,000, specially designed for the bus. There were also Genelec 7380A subwoofers worth $2,000 each for extended lows and KRK VXT4 monitors for quick desktop checks. Tim's signature vocal mic was a custom gold-plated Neumann U87 worth $3,200 plus plating, often used handheld in the passenger seat for on-road captures. Processing came from 7 SSL X-Logic X-Rack modules worth $5,000 each for modular preamps, EQs, and compressors. Everything ran through Avid Pro Tools HD for editing. Beat-making tools included a Korg Triton 61-key workstation, an Open Labs Timbaland Miko custom controller worth $2,000 to $3,000 co-designed by Tim himself, and a Yamaha Motif ES7 synthesizer for pads. The original bus was sold in 2021, with pieces like the SSL Matrix going for $10,000. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, keep the adventure alive by clicking on one of the suggested videos on your screen right now for more amazing content.